All right. Let's see. There we are. Welcome. My name's Alex. This is 52 Miniatures. It's a live stream. Today is Saturday. The sun is shining. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Everyone else is outside eating ice cream, I think. Potentially, some are also drinking beer in the sunshine. And I'm in a bunker inhaling Tamiya extra thin cement and polyurethane matte varnish dust. How you doing? Okay. Hey, Geordie. Starting right off, if I could shrink myself into a miniature, groceries would be cheaper. In return, I would waste more money on paints and busts that I will never finish. True. And I mean, imagine the size of the paint. You could go for a swim in cadmium yellow. Hello, girl painting. You're not too late. You're early. You're here when it starts, which is nice. Good to see you. Jordy asks, is this everyone or just patrons? I believe it's everyone. But on the other hand, that usually means it's just patrons. But, you know, the world is invited. They just didn't get the memo. Good morning, Marcus. I hope you're well. And Max Power, good afternoon. Chris, I hope you're well. Harry Ridgway says, well, I know where I'd rather be. I'm kind of two minds about that right now. No, obviously, I'm very glad to be here with you. It's just, you know, I haven't seen the sun in about 4 months. So there's a bit of a, you know, the thought of sunshine is enticing. But, you know, I've got icy blue light over here and, you know, it'll have to do. Good evening. Yeah, it would be good evening or good night tomorrow, kiddo, from Australia. I tried to sort of plan this the time for this. Just because of that, I'm going to take my watch off because it's chafing me while on the subject of time. You know, I try to figure out sort of a time where maybe the US wakes up and Australia maybe might not have gone to bed yet. So I'm glad you could make it. Hello, Adrian. I hope you're well. And Harry says painting faces when you're mini sized would be amazing. Yes, imagine the amount of paint you'd need, I guess. But that would be relative, maybe. Imagine like painting someone's face. I guess makeup artists would be you know, more comfortable with that. But like sticking a brush in someone's face, I don't think I've ever tried. Maybe I should try. I need to go find a face. Good morning, Shrek. Hope you're well. Yes, Marcus says, don't forget to like. That's a good thing to say this early on. If you're, you know, watching this maybe in past tense, as in the live has been, you're still watching it, but it's just not live. Then please press the like button because that means more people get to see it. I don't really know how, you know, it's complicated, but YouTube likes, and so please like. Good afternoon, Corey. And Tobias from good old Germany. I was in good old Germany just about a week back, but it was a private affair, kind of. I was there with my son and my parents. It was a very delayed present for my dad that he received on his 70th birthday, which was before the pandemic, and then we just haven't been able to travel. And we went to Berlin, which is specifically the Technical Museum in Berlin, which is a bit of a marvel if one likes that kind of stuff. Sehr gut. Hello, ST6 is 1337. It's like a robot. Are you a robot? Because that's a very robotish name. From Ohio. Con Abus says, if I could shrink myself down to a miniature, I'm pretty sure one of my cats would eat me. I also wouldn't have to worry about groceries. Yes. It's strange sometimes with live streams, there's always a subject, and it's usually the case is that, like, by the end of the live stream, it goes on for about 2 hours, and then when there's 5 minutes left, there's like, oh yes, there was a subject. I also like being shrinked into a miniature kind of a thing, because for some reason we need sort of subject, and I don't know how I came up with it. It was more like, this could be a subject. We can talk a bit more about it. I'll talk a bit more about it later, because yeah, I have thoughts. Adrian also says, smash that bell. Is there a bell? What bell? And then glue it together again. But try not to get the like button all sticky when you press it. Ah, that bell. The notifications bell. Yes. Yeah. Please do. And subscribe and all of that. Hello, Klein Fisher from Germany as well. Marcus says we got sun forecast for the next week. Yeah, we've got a sun forecast for today. Tomorrow it's going to rain, I believe. Hello, Phil. Where did you go? There you are. Inspirational PG Tips drinker. Yes, this is actually PG Tips. You're quite right. Hello, Joel from Joel. From in Swedish, you'd be Joel. Joel. From Australia. And MVP, good to see you. And John Ashley Smith, how are you doing? Your question as to being shrunk to a miniature reminds me of a television show from my childhood, The Land of the Giants. Actually, when I wrote the title, I thought of that. What was the film? Honey, who shrunk the kids, or something. I remember there was ants involved, and I watched it, and it was horrifying, absolutely horrifying. Necrons not Necrons, but the other Tyranids. They don't have nothing on ants. Yeah, that was a terrible movie to watch as a kid. I think it was like Star Wars was great. The really, really big ants and all the sounds, and no, that's like guaranteed nightmares. Shrink PMC. Okay, I got it. I think I'm not very good with letters. They just kind of jumble up, and my brain gets confused when they can't recognize the. I'm pretty good at reading, but it's only because I kind of know the words. But as soon as anyway, Jamie, how are you doing? Hope you're well. And Kelly, good Saturday morning from Atlanta. Glad to hear it. It's it's in the afternoon here, but I'm glad your morning is in the morning. Dirigio says, good morning from Maine. Spring has sprung, sun is out, but still cool enough for the wood stove. Yeah, today's like the first day was, I don't know, everyone had T-shirts on. And I was out just a little way back, a while back, a few hours back. I had to go buy dishwasher pellets things, detergent. Um, and as exciting as that was, I was quite surprised at the amount of t-shirts because I was like wear like this in a jacket, and it was a little bit warm, but it was still like it's not it's but it's like mentally there was a lot of people that was like summer's here, I can just wear shorts and a t-shirt, and they're going to be so cold in a few hours when and they'll be sitting there shivering in the dusk, and I will walk past them with my woolen jumper and jacket and laugh at them. Hello, Annie Noodle from Minnesota. Where did you go? The chat thing. Um, this is a thing with if you ever start to have a YouTube channel and start to have live streams, you'll be amazed at how a huge company like Google can't design like a functioning chat for me to sort of be able to handle. It just goes everywhere. Phil says facial fantasy makeup for painting faces. Thanks. Corey says, do you have any experience with forest dragon miniatures? I'm looking at making a 2-person demo for rank and file fantasy. No, I don't. What is forest dragon? I need to check that out. Forest dragon miniatures. Okay, so it's STL kind of a things. And okay, there's lots of stuff. But is it just proxying, or it looks like rank and flank stuff? Do they have their own rule set, or does one play other games with them? Please enlighten me, Corey. But it looks like they're tiny. Are they tiny as well? Is it like really, really small things? Because it kind of looks like it. Joel says, I remember a Welshman from when I was a kid that used to call me Joel. Well, there you go. It took me many years to figure out that that's actually a thing. Aye, it is. I think actually it's kind of funny. There's more. I think there is more Viking in English than there is in Swedish, like words and stuff. And if one is in the north of England, at least, there's a lot more places and things that are called things that sound Scandinavian than there is, or sound Viking than there is over here. I don't know about, Ireland, but there was a fair few Vikings that settled there. But you said Welsh. And who knows what happens in Wales? It's like the black hole of. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's great, but I'm beware of dragons. Adrian says, "What size mini though? I'm thinking 6mm epic scale would give more epic adventure possibilities. Yeah, it's like traveling around the apple in 80 days." John Ashley Smith says, "I love painting epic scale miniatures. I've never tried it. I saw there's a patron of mine that has been showing it just now, recently, today or yesterday. Katie showed some pictures she was painting of like Space Marines, but there was five on a base, and it was very epically 6 millimeter scale or something, tiny things. And I've got to say that it looks kind of cool. Hers did. I'm thinking now personally that it looks, maybe it would be a fun thing to try, but it also kind of, I don't know. I just like painting things, as in actually being able to paint them. Whereas I don't even know if I could see where to stick the brush on those small things. And so, um, but playing a game with them, I think would be pretty cool. So I think for me, it'd be more of a game, as a game situation. It would be pretty cool. A painting situation, I just probably would be annoyed with the size of things. Marcus Stratus says, "I've got a hankering to paint something colorful instead of another grungy Titan." Marcus is what's the game called, Marcus? Where you actually play games with your uh, different Titans and stuff, and has been painting them. But yours are pretty. I'm not going to say colorful, but they've got color going. Um, I myself have been painting, I guess, Second World War inspired things for the next video, and so that's just five different shades of gray. Is that the book? The book that's not about the Second World War at all, unless all the soldiers like took their clothes off, but not the leather straps and belts. Okay, moving on. Joel says, "I'm fairly sure I'd rather end up on the D&D table than the Warhammer table if I was a mini." See, that's what I've been thinking as well. It's like, um, I don't know. There's a lot of terrible things that go on in the world of miniatures. There's a lot of like guts and blood and magical explosions and hand grenades and bolt guns and there's not all that many miniatures that are just sitting there like having a nice picnic, um, eating ice cream and that. Apart from that, like that's where my thought was going. Apart from like old Warhammer, the halflings, um, they really look like they're kind of enjoying themselves. And there's a chef and stuff making soup. I think I could probably maybe fit in there somewhere, um, but I'd definitely not be in the grim dark future. That'd just be horrifying. Shrek says he started a channel about a month and a half ago. I think you mentioned, yeah. Um, I wish you good luck with that. Things are jumping about. I'm sorry. I'm about to catch up. And he says, I do have a YouTube channel, but I haven't worked up the nerve to do a live yet. Yeah, it's a bit weird, staring into a camera, imagining that there's actual people on the other side. But it only takes a few times, and then you get used to it. It's rather fun, and it's just great to be able to catch up with friends and followers and all of that. So I recommend it. It's weird, but you kind of get used to it, and then it's just fun to be able to connect and not just it gets a little bit isolated just making the videos. It's there's comments and all of that, but it's not. Is it real? Do these people actually exist? And then in such situations like this, you're sort of like, yeah, they probably, you know, They probably do exist. Corey says, I was thinking of using Kings of War rule sets for these. Okay, so you have a. It was just the minis you were talking about, and there was not a rule set. There was so many miniatures here that I had a hard time. I'm looking at the Forest Dragon website again, and there's a lot of stuff, so I have a hard time just digesting all of this. The lizard men look fun because then you can have like the huge dinosaurs. Also, I wonder how small the dwarves are. Like, there's dwarves and a dwarf cannon. So how tiny, how little is a dwarf compared to an orc kind of a thing? They'd be real tricky to paint a dwarf at that size, wouldn't it? Jamie Mays says, "My home village is Viking Fir Town, smallholding where the willows grow." So what is the name of it, Jamie? Hello, meandering shade. Hope you're well. Corey says, I was thinking of ordering two armies in 6mm or 10mm, but aren't these STLs, or do you actually just buy them? I haven't clicked anything. Oh, this was STLs. Yes. Yeah, I've never heard of them, Corey. It was fun to have a look. John Ashley Smith says it's far easier to paint. I guess that's what you're saying, on account of there really isn't that much detail to paint. You're going more for an overall look rather than making each model a masterpiece. Fair enough. And I guess just because of the fact that they're very very much a gaming piece, maybe sort of and that the possibility hardly is even there for detailed painting. Didn't Sam Lenz paint for some competition? Paint like a Warlord Titan, but like 6mm or something like that. Hello, Mark from Montana. I hope you're doing well. Corey says, also, you and I were talking about Warzone models previously when I noticed them in one of your videos. There's a Kickstarter for bringing back the game and a new range of classic models. I know. I don't really collect Warzone, but I have been amassing some things. I think I showed this. Just excuse me for a second. Whoops. I think I showed these in a previous stream. These were my latest Warzone purchases. This is ouch, like a walker kind of a thing, but it kind of looks like a I don't know. It's like a Spitfire inspired walker, and that piece is actually plastic, and then the rest is sort of metal bits. And then there's these. I just could not buy these because it's like this is like the the wettest dream of the 14-year-old or 12-year-old 1993 that likes wargaming and kiss, because it's like uh, ladies with boobs and weaponry, and they have like kiss makeup kind of a thing. Um, these are the morning wolves. I had to buy them because it was like, yeah. Um, there's just so much here that's like the foundation of what we're still, um, you know, working on when it comes to things. But yeah, these were the last ones I bought. I've got some packs with bits and bobs and some books and stuff like that. I kind of want to make a video on Warzone, just because I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It was a really big game, and then it just kind of died for reasons. And I guess back in the day, it might as well have been like Warhammer that just died and disappeared, and we'd be out, you know, in our game stores today buying secondhand metal Warhammer miniatures, but the game didn't actually exist anymore. And but Warzone is the biggest thing around. Kind of could have been a little bit like that. But yes, I know there's a Kickstarter out. I'm going to say this without actually knowing all that much about it, but I saw it and I kind of tried to get into it, and I didn't really like the way it looked. It felt like, no, you shouldn't have tried to modernize this. You should have gone with the old school vibe, because it feels like they're trying to make a new sort of skirmish style game with modernized sculpts. And I think, for me personally, I like it because of the retro vibe. I don't want it to look new, and it just felt like, this is going to sound harsh, but cashing in on, people that were into it when they were young. Because I checked the website, it just didn't feel personal. It might just be a design fault. It might be great people behind it. I might be completely wrong. I was just and I saw lots of things, and none of it was like, wow, this looks cool. I just didn't get that feeling. So I'd rather just buy the old things every now and again, and I'm happy with that. Happy with that. Jamie Mayer says, Luke at Geek Gaming scene. I'll start again. Luke at Geek Gaming Scenics was doing a series about 6mm small scale wargaming figures. His approach being buff that all over with washes to bring out contrast. Isn't that Luke's? Isn't that just how Luke paints? Sorry, Luke, but he's into that. Getting stuff on the table so you can play games with it, more than like me knobbing around with painting a gun for 3 days or something. Talking about that, see if I can show you something. Hold on. Switcher. I need to press the switcher, and I need to press that one. And then what happens if I do that now? Can you see a picture? Yeah. Oh, sorry. You might be interrupted by ads, or you will be interrupted by ads in about 31 seconds. I don't know. I got some kind of notice here. Anyway, we're talking about Luke's, just slobber some wash on it and you'll be fine. This is what I've been working on. Can you see me? There we are. Hi, my name's Alex, and I painted this. This is I've been working on a video for way too long, and one of the reasons is what you can see in this picture. Because well, basically, it's been I've just I decided to bugger it. I'll just paint this the way I want to paint it, and it's been taking time. It's a little bit of a image from a tank. And it's not a really huge tank. Um, been having fun with that, and I took the pictures today, and I was like, "Wow, that looks good in the picture," and so I wanted to share it. Hopefully, the video will be out next week. As I said, it's been taking more time than I thought it would, because there's been like a tank, and then there's going to be folks in the tank, and there's a little diorama, and the whole thing. I'm going to start writing the script today, but I really enjoyed painting this thing and the weathering and all of that. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to show off. I hope you don't mind. Marcus Stratus says, very, very briefly you said hi, and then all of a sudden it was soldiers taking their clothes off. Yes, welcome to 52 Miniatures. Um, you know, it's Saturday, so I don't know. I don't know what that's got to do with it, but Saturday night is soon upon us. Okay, trying to find my way in the chat. Because as always, it's jumping around. Okay, I think I found my way. Corey says Miniac does a very detailed forest dragon vampire mini. I think Scott does everything very detailed, yes, which is fun. Placebo Pete is Lurker reporting in. Good to know you're hiding in the shadows. Jamie Mayer says, I did paint an army each of 6mm Romans and Carthaginians. I guess they were from Carthago. Carthago? That's difficult for me to say. Because in Swedish you say Carthago. Carthage? Carthage, yeah. But really hated basing them. I finished them and then put them in a really useful box, and I haven't looked at them since. Sounds like time well spent, Jamie. But you've got your Napoleonics now, right? Are they also that small? Mr. Fortune says, do you remember the first miniature you painted that you felt you had completed a professional paint job on? I don't think I've ever had that feeling, to be honest. I just kind of paint, and then I get gradually better and better at painting. But I've never, I can always find someone else's paint job to look at that I feel is 100 times better than mine. So I kind of just don't compare, and I try not to think in those terms. I just try and paint and enjoy the process of painting. And then sometimes when I'm done, I'm like, wow, that turned out great. Like now I was showing you off that little piece of the tank because I was like, wow, that was nice. And sometimes things don't turn out great, and then I don't show them to you. No, that's not true. I show that as well. But it's not, I try not get too hooked up on what things look like. And I know that might sound strange if you look at my videos and you say, but everything looks great. And yes, but I, by now I've been painting for a few years. Um, but I'm seriously not striving to get better. I'm just striving to paint more miniatures and have fun while doing it, and then get better while I do it. So yeah, I can't really answer your question. Corey says this was the game that got me into minis. Talking about Warzone. Wasn't it Swedish from the start? Or is that just my mind going crazy? Might be. I remember playing the card game. It's called Doom Trooper. That was some good stuff. And he says, got to run, but wanted to say thank you for recommending Andrew May Meridian Minis. I did. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at names. Was that the Hieronymus Bosch thing? Maybe. I'm sorry. I'm just really bad at names. But I'm glad you got something out of the recommendation. They're gorgeous. Can't wait to paint them. They'll be my first minis. That's cool, Annie. Welcome to the world of mini painting. Have a good day. Chris says, hello from New Zealand. Also, why am I still awake? Why not? Because, not now you can hang out with us in this lovely little whatever it is. Corey says regarding the Warzone Kickstarter, a lot of feedback in the first Kickstarter was unclear. You are correct that the director couldn't make up their mind based on the kickers' feedback. Yeah, it didn't feel like there was that whoever did it was like, I think this is so cool. Let's try and just get it done. It felt more like this is a potential business. Might be wrong. It's just a feeling I got. Meandering Shade says, I have some boxes of the fantasy miniatures they did in the storage box somewhere. Chronopia, was it? I'm not sure. I don't really know much about that, actually. John Ashley Smith says, I still have some of the old Ral Pata stuff, and Phil was discussing that as well. Painted with testers and Humbrol enamels. Yes, I have some of them as well. A Balrog that my dad painted for me. And like some hobbits and it was like Lord of the Rings themed things. Okay, I've now catched up with me showing the picture of the tank. So at least we got there. By the way, again, please, there's more of you than there is likes. So please press the like button. It just kind of helps letting people know that the stream exists. Seems to be harder and harder to do. It seems to be harder and harder to get views on YouTube as well. I don't really know what's going on. I don't know if there was a lot of people that sort of got back into the hobby during the pandemic, and then that now sort of after the pandemic getting back to sort of normal work, find less time for doing the hobby or something. I know there's usually quite a few that if at the moment. If people leave the Patreon, for example, it's either because of the economics, because the economics are tricky at the moment and people just don't can't afford it, or it's like I'm not painting anymore. I'm not watching YouTube videos with painting. Whereas when the pandemic started, it was like, "Hi, I haven't been in the hobby for ages," and now I'm back. So I don't know if it's a thing, um, but it is more difficult to get views on videos, and it's decidedly more difficult to get people to watch the live streams. Maybe it's got something to do with the content. Hmm. John Ashley Smith says, "Very nice weathering on that nashorn. Kudos." Yes, thank you. It was a lot of fun. I'm not actually. I don't know if I've even touched the thing with the brush. Yes, I would have with a bit of the stippling and the weathering. But it was a strange new experience of pretty much only working with the airbrush on a lot of it. Um, it's not really much of that when it comes to miniature work. So it was interesting. It'll be in a video, hopefully Thursday or Friday. I'm a little bit stressed out because I'm already a week late, but I'm trying to not stress out because I always keep saying, you know, I just really want to make the videos nice, and sometimes they take longer. But when they do take longer, I start stressing out. And I'm just trying to stop doing that. Mark says, that's a cool tank. Love those shades. So I see your blue green streaks. Yes. The green streaks were a bit more prominent than I would have hoped for, actually. It's like it's the green I used. It was oil paint, um, and it was a chrome green, I think, and it was excessively intense compared to the others, and it kind of left its mark on there. But there we are. It still looks cool. There was just a bit more green than I would have planned for. Marcus Stratter says this tank and the mini is going to be in the one video. Yes, everything's going to be in the one video. I've decided it's probably going to be long, maybe, or I can shorten it down. I don't know. I first thought I would do a 2-part video, just because I put so much time into making it. There's I've been doing silly stop motion and things as well, but I've decided to just do the one video. Uh, I'm going to start writing the script after we've had this live stream. Hello, Ben. John says, I went to the local hobby show about 3 weeks ago, and I'm still buzzing with inspiration. Isn't there a salute for you guys in the UK? Is that a thing? It's today, isn't it? This weekend, I think. I had a spur of the moment thing that I thought maybe I should maybe just go, and then reality caught up with me, and my wallet as well. Halika, welcome. You didn't miss it. Plenty of time still left. Julian says, hi, I loved your video about wet blending. I'd love to be able to do the same. Any tips? Probably not more than I put in the video. I don't know why I when I started to paint miniatures again a few years back, I just automatically started to wet blend. I don't know why. It just was something I thought felt like a smart way of painting miniatures. Um, so I guess you could say that I've practiced a lot, and that's as with most things, the only way to figure out how to do something is to just keep doing it, and practicing, and you that's it. Um, and I think the few tips I have were probably in that video that you've already watched. And after that, it's just about trying to do it. You can, if you haven't done it at all, a good place to start is maybe not on a complicated miniature, but something simple like on a base, things like that. Just s- trying to mix the paints together while they're still wet with an intent to do something. So you might have a base or some terrain feature or something like that that maybe isn't as detailed or the details aren't as small and picky as they can be on a miniature. Um, and try to do that a few times and then maybe start doing it on miniatures, but find the right spots to do it as well. You don't have to do the entire miniature. Um, a good place to start is maybe a cloak, because it's usually a rather big, sort of like flowing surface. So it's a pretty good place to start practicing wet blending when you move on from like a base or terrain. Um, is something like cloak. Don't try and wet blend a face the first thing you do, because then you'll just not wet blend anymore. Uh, so larger surfaces that are um, more organic in shape and feel, is a pretty good place to start. I've got to say as well, yeah, thanks for all the likes. You can also, um, you know, there's a super thingy. If you want to give me money, you can give me money by super commenting, or you can join the Patreon so that I can buy more tanks for the money. Um, just I just want to add that. Usually, there's like really great admins that say these things in the chat, and I just repeat them. But no one's here. Lonely today. Um, so please like and subscribe. Join the Patreon if you want to support the creation of video making. It's actually something I put quite a lot of time into, pretty much the equivalent of a full-time job or more. It just doesn't even pay as much as a half-time job. So the equation is kind of a little bit crooked. So, if you want to support that, please do. And if you just want to buy me a beer or a pizza or a coffee, you can super comment here in the live chat. Or you can buy one of these on my website, which is a lovely fine art print of a female space marine. Um, the full story on that can be read on the website, which is 52miniatures.com. These are great. And I think by now I've sold about maybe 60 or so of these prints, which means that I should have covered the costs of the venture. So as of yet, I have not made any money really off of doing all that. And that's fine. But my plan was to, make a bit of money so that I could reinvest that money in hiring artists again to like do more art. And that's only going to happen if you buy more prints. So please do buy more prints. Okay, moving on. Thank you for that little break. Kelly says, engaging like button in 3, 2, 1. Exactly. Great, Kelly. Thank you. I should put these on again. Things are getting blurry. Ben says, I'm still painting my Sylvaneth army for Age of Sigmar. What's everyone else working on today? I'm still painting my Stormcast army. I haven't today, but it's like two years later. Actually, I finished the little diorama I've been working on. I need to assemble a Space Marine. So I glued a shoulder pad together here, and then I went looking for my sprue goo, which is when you take like bits of sprue and you dissolve them in plastic cement, and you get this kind of goo that you can use for gap filling. And once it's dry, you can sand it and everything. But I think maybe I've left that at home because I can't. It could be on the very. You can't really see the messy desk, but there's a mess. It could be there somewhere, or I've left it at home. Because as always, Games Workshop has put a gap in the middle of the most visible thing, which is the shoulder pad. The logic amazes me. What else? Yeah. I need to pack this. This is Eve. You can't really see it all that well from there because it's a bit dark. Maybe, yeah, that's a bit brighter. This is Eve, the female Space Marine. This has now been sold to a collector of, which is pretty cool. So I need to pack this and send it to the other side of the world today. I should have done it like 2 weeks ago, but I haven't. And so I've got Eve here so I can see her and say goodbye. And then she's going to find a new home. I'm just scared of how I'm going to. I don't know how to pack this. I don't know how she's not going to die. I'm just glad I didn't 3D print a tree. This is actually the tree is made from. It's not called barbed bracken, but it's one of Games Workshop's sort of things. It's like a sort of softish plastic kind of. So at least that's not going to. Nothing on here is going to break into 1,000 pieces, but I'm still kind of scared of how I'm supposed to pack her. Ben also says, these streams help me paint so much. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. That's sort of the point, I think, just to try and just keep you company for a bit and keep myself company and say hi and we can have a chat and just we're a community and it's a good feeling to have a community and to just be able to share your sort of painting time with someone. That's what I feel anyway. It's usually what I do when if I sit and paint, I usually put on, someone else's stream, for example. Hello, Martin. Reichenbach. I hope you're well. Marcus says, I definitely have less time for hobby these days. I guess you compared to the pandemic, between physical fitness, the new dog, family, and all the other personal interests, not to mention the job. Quite true. Martin says, do you actually take part in the Golden Demon? Is that a question to me? No. No. I don't think I'd ever... I'm very uncompetitive. It's almost the opposite. Like the thought of any type of competition type settings stresses me out more than not. And people say that entering a competition is great because you push yourself to new levels and all of this. And I'm like, I have no interest in pushing myself to new levels. I just want to have fun painting, and maybe the next level will come if it wants to. I'm not really bothered with the next level. I just like experimenting and trying new things and all of that, and just having to finish something on time, and the illusion of trying to impress um, is just not for me. It doesn't fit my personality. I'm all for competitions and that other people enjoy it, and it works for other people, but for me it's like it's got the opposite effect. I just start to not like painting, I think, if I enter the competition. Phil says the video about wet blending sold me on Alex's inspiration. Established several stages of premix and move them through them instead of blending two extremes. Clever fella. Yeah, that's a thing that I usually do when wet blending is maybe not just use black and white, and then I might use black and mix one or two grays in between, and then a white, so that there's a bit of a spectrum. Um, it's a bit more forgiving, I think. Jamie says that was some really nice assorted streaking, weathering, and chipping on the tank bit. Did you use the oil spotting, wiping, weathering technique? Yes, one of them. Um, I mean, there's obviously a term for it, as with everything else. I can't remember what it is. Um, dot washing, dot streaking. I don't know. Essentially, one uses oil paint on an acrylic surface and puts little dots of different colored oil paint, and then sort of almost wipe them off completely, and it's almost just like tinting the surface, but with different colors. So you get, you can. It just feels more realistic, unless you use the chrome green that I did, and everything just turns green. But it's a great way of weathering something and adding just different filters on top of a surface, different hints of colors. If something's going to be weathered and stained, it's usually not just going to be weathered and stained in one color. There might be rust, there might be mold, moss, oil streaks. All these things they're all different colors, and yeah, I'm going to be talking about that in the video, not as a specifically mentioned, like in depth how the technique works, but um, I'll obviously mention it. Hello, Clyde Dashing. I hope you're well. Oh, I've been given some money. Thank you very much, New Dog Prime. I'm disabled and a little bit older than most, but so enjoying my miniature journey. Your channel helps me look at things differently. I appreciate it. Um, I I'm just very grateful that people can find inspiration in my videos, and every time someone tells me, it makes my day. So thank you very much for the donation as well, New Doc. Clyde Dashing as well. Thank you. A cup of coffee. Thank you very much, Clyde. I appreciate it. I think I'm going to turn that into. Actually, I'm probably going to go have a beer after this in the sun. And since I'm in Sweden, at least it's half a beer. Thanks, Clyde. Hello, Giles from Switzerland. I hope you're doing well. Welcome. Phil says the blue light on the right side of your face is perfect OSL for a plasma gun. Yeah, this thing. I know. It's movie magic. Shrek says, I have trouble wet blending with acrylics. I think most folk do. Dries too fast. Oils are more amenable to wet blending. Yeah, it's a bit of a speed game. I've developed a very sort of fast technique, I guess, when wet blending. I mean, there's no sort of um, one has to, yeah, paint with a bit of intent. I also usually try and just do if I'm painting a torso with arms, maybe I'll just do the one arm and then the other arm and then maybe the chest and then maybe the stomach and then maybe I don't just try and paint the entire thing. I try and divide it into smaller portions. But sure, one has to work fast. You can use you I mean you can put retarder in your paint, um, which will make the paint not dry as fast. It does dilute the paint, and this is one of the issues with wet blending is you know you can do it several times, but my thought on it is that I mean several layers, but my idea is that it's a pretty efficient technique if you do it in one go. uh, and so I'll wet blend and then maybe refine the shadows a little bit and the highlights a little bit in a more sort of uh, regular sort of thin layering technique, but using the wet blend as the foundation for everything, and having to do that twice is then a bit annoying. And putting retarder in your paint means you dilute it, which means it becomes more transparent, and that means it doesn't cover as well, and so then that's more tricky. um, because then you might have to wet blend the same area twice to get a decent coverage. So yeah, practice, practice, practice. Phil says I'm supposed to go buy pizza with pineapple. I did that last stream actually, and that was very kindly uh, donated by you guys in the chat, which was great. I think I posted a picture on it on my Instagram afterwards. The pineapple pizza. Mark says probably not a good idea to try and wet blend the first time on a face. Yes, I can confirm that from personal experience. Yeah, don't go for the face. I don't know if I've ever wet blended a face. Maybe probably a little bit, but not much. Um, my favorite is for fabrics and clothing. I mean, that's the thing as well. You don't have to wet blend the entire miniature. You can wet blend the areas where wet blending is suitable. Um, like wet blending Space Marine's shoulder pad is a little bit tricky. I probably should do that though. I should wet blend maybe the next Space Marine. That'd be fun. Hmm. Hello, Gary from Ireland, who says, I just subscribed. Welcome to the channel, Gary. I appreciate it. Clyde is nursing a cold while working on some Marvel Crisis Protocol minis, because if I don't nurse it, it'll grow up and be big and strong. The cold or the Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures. It'd be scary if you come to your desk the next day and they're twice the size because you've been kind to them. But yeah, that's a thing. A lot of people seem to be enjoying the. Oops, sorry, I hit the microphone. A lot of people seems to be enjoying the Marvel Crisis thingy, and I don't know why. It's just that the setting is not enticing for me. Where I mean, that obviously doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with that setting. But I think I'm too fond of the fantasy and the more distant type sci-fi, or just the superhero thing. Isn't it? It's never been really my thing. I've never been much into superheroes. Um, so I'm just trying to dissolve this shoulder pad with some plastic cement here, and see if I wipe over this gap in the shoulder pad enough times with plastic cement, then maybe it sort of welds shut. Sorry, I'm concentrating. I'll be with you in a second. Oh, wait a minute. Rashton, 33. Thank you for the donation. Found your channel months ago. YouTube is crowded with painters, but your channel feels unique and genuine, especially like the video on lighting. I appreciate it, Rashton. There is a lot of channels about. Um, I mean, I like it. I think YouTube is a fickle beast, but most of the time it's. I think a lot of it is down to finding a creator that you think is a nice person, and everyone has different tastes in people. Otherwise, we'd all be friends, and we're not. You know. Uh, so I like the more the merrier, because that means that someone's going to find a creator they enjoy and that they can be inspired from. But I also agree with you that there's plenty of things that I don't like just because I don't agree with. Just there's not the sort of correct kind of chemistry going. Anyway, thank you for the donation. Let's see. Okay, this is strange. This is Satanta says "Tjena tjena" from Japan, which is like Swedish for how you doing, from Japan. So that makes me confused because it should be Japanese and not Swedish. But hi, I hope you're well. And Bat from Yorkshire, I hope you're well. Phil says if you wet blend a few model parts, part by part, you can then make up a glaze and glaze the lot in one go. Yes, very true. It's also like once you've wet blended. I mean, it's also one of the reasons I very much like a wet palette, because when you've wet blended the different parts, if things don't really fit well together here and there, you just you have all the paints right in front of you, so you can just go in and do a few transitional stabbings with the brush, and you're fine. Satanta says an Irish man in Japan who used to live in Sweden. That sounds like the start of a bad joke. Love your videos. I will one day work up the courage to paint my minis. You should. Definitely. It's a lot of fun. You can just start. It'll probably not turn out great, but that's always the way, with things when you start. It's very seldom one is an expert right at the beginning. Some people are a lot better than others. Like I painted with a friend, and she's like really, she's good at drawing and stuff, and so she could automatically translate that knowledge. She'd never painted a mini, but it kind of looked really good, because she was like, oh, this is a shadow, so it should be darker, and this is a highlight, so it should be brighter, and the shadow should probably be cooler. And she just translated all this information, and while the technique was, because some of the technique is, like with a craft, it's like muscle memory and all these things that you have to practice, and so obviously that painting something that small with a brush and all of that is a bit smudgy. But as a there was plenty of depth and contrast and great colors and all of these things. So obviously, some people have a better start. But I think whoever starts painting miniature, if you haven't been painting anything that small and realized just how it works, um, then it's never going to look good. But it doesn't take all that long for it to be like comfortable and fun and just like, oh, it turned out all right, and you just keep on going. So I can't encourage you more than just try paint a few minis. You know, if you have them lying around and you have some paint lying around, then please do. Chris says a manager for a Warhammer store in Tokyo is Swedish. Okay, cool. Adrian says just Zenithal prime everything and use them. All the rest is details. You mean all the miniatures? Yeah. That depends on if one uses them. There's plenty of people about that just buy miniatures, I think, and kind of collect them. Okay. Oh yeah, look what I found today. I was walked into a thrift shop. See, I had all the June books, not all of them, but the three of them at some point when I was younger, and then they disappeared. And I reread the first book like a few months back, and then I was like, I should read the rest as well. And then today I went into a thrift shop and found these for $1 a piece. So that's pretty good. Pretty much. It was maybe $1.50 per book, something like that. It's a pretty good price. John Ashley Smith says, I'd like to do a few hobby videos, but haven't the proper equipment or knowledge. I've been doing these hobby for more than 40 years, so I feel I have useful tips for beginners and veterans. Yeah, I mean, you can always, I don't know. A lot of people start out just using their phone. I think there's a big difference from. It's like with the painting the miniatures. It's not gonna it's not gonna look good, but you're gonna have to start because it doesn't look good until you've tried. I think if you look at any YouTuber and you look at the first videos and you look where they are today, there's usually a pretty big difference in, not necessarily just quality, but just how relaxed the content is, or how natural things feel, because it takes quite some time. After all, there's not like this big production company that has everything planned out. So I obviously definitely understand what you mean about not having the gear or the knowledge, because you still have to sort of learn how to edit videos and things like that. But it is kind of the same thing there, that you just kind of need, you'll start out and then you'll learn all the things that you just wish you hadn't have done, and you'll get better. But the first ones aren't going to be great, probably, Bat says I got all 9 June books for 50 pence each in a charity shop. Yeah, I didn't do quite that well, but I figured this was good enough. BP Custom Creation says sound is more important than video because not everyone will watch the screen, but they will be listening. Yeah, I guess that depends. I mean, I agree. And when I make videos, I try and kind of make a script that might be enjoyable to listen to, even though you can't see anything. But I think, if depending on who creates the video, not like if I put a lot of effort into the visual side of my videos, if you know, and so I'd probably feel just a little bit sort of disappointed if people were just listening to it, you know, um, because y- you're not really getting the video then, you know. You should be maybe listening to podcasts and not watching videos. It is, after all, a video and not just sound. I do agree with you. I just think that that sometimes the level of consumption on YouTube is just fascinating. How you have tons of people putting a lot of effort into making videos, and yet people like watch through them at 3 times the speed, jumping through, and then they're like done and like, okay, next video, and like next video and next video, and like, okay, now I watched everyone's videos. Why can't people just produce more videos? It fascinates me. I'm not, there's no right or wrong way to consume things. It's just like the um, yeah, it fascinates me why it's so difficult to just sit down and press play and like have a cup of tea and not touch anything. Because a lot of channels today are in fact making like television quality things, um, but we just need to consume at such a high speed. I watched a movie not too long ago. It was one of the first Star Trek movies. I'm not sure if it was the first one or the second one. And there's this scene of like the USS Enterprise traveling through this. There's some kind of a weird space phenomenon thing, and so you see this obvious sort of. You can't really see the strings attached to the model, but it's not the greatest, and there's just it's like the enterprise. This is the Enterprise, and here's all this space thing. I can't remember if there was flashes of lightning or there's different colors, and it's like, and there's the music is great. There's probably like this symphony orchestra thing going, but it's still just dun, 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 and like go out into the kitchen and get a new cup of tea and then go back to the television. And it's still like they haven't. There's not like a single edit. And then like after that, you watch like The Mandalorian or something, and everything is like there's not they don't there's not a single shot that is it's less than a second, and then it's like next one and next one and the next one and the next one and the next one, and it's just like everything is so fast and there's so much action and people shooting and all of this stuff, and you know what we watch has just changed so drastically to just even you know being edited at even the most expensive high end things like Mandalorian is even you know taking into account that we need just new input constantly, or we'll just get bored and scroll forward. Um, and it's a little bit fascinating because obviously it wasn't like that. Probably when people were watching that Star Trek film in the cinemas, they were like, "Wow, check out space, man!" And the spaceship is just slowly moving, and it's just such an epic moment. Um, and now watching it, it just you almost feel a little bit nervous because you're like, why is nothing happening? You know. Okay, let's see. Tomorrow Kiddo says your video is a backdrop to what I'm doing, like someone in the room with a nice aesthetic. But I like the natural fun ones that feel very honest, easy to connect with people. Yeah, I guess. I mean, the people are the same. Um, I guess it just depends on. It's so different. I mean, very much make videos just because I enjoy that process side of things, and not everyone has that knowledge. Um, Whereas it doesn't have anything to do with honesty or not honesty. It's just a different way of telling a story. Um, and I think it's more that I like to try and tell a story and maybe not just. That's why I like to do the live streams, because this is more in touch with me, and I'm not doing a script. But yeah. Jake says, I know from my personal experience that I don't have time to watch YouTube and not do something else. Hobby and YouTube together is the only way I have time for both. Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. I mean, I don't really watch YouTube myself. It's not true. I watch my, I don't know. I see, there's a lot of things that I don't do. I don't play computer games, for instance, just because I don't find the time for that. Um, But if I watch something on YouTube, I sit down and I watch it because I want to give the person who's made the video my attention. I know how much time they put into making that video, and so I want to give them that time back. Um, like listening to a live stream or a podcast type thing, that's different because it's like this. I don't expect you to sit and stare at my face for 2 hours. That would be a waste of time. I'm not that pretty. But I like to see you know what type of effort people have put in. Um, and I don't watch YouTube videos when I paint miniatures, because when I paint miniatures, I paint miniatures. And I see what you mean about time, but for me, it's two different things. Like I don't want to watch YouTube when I paint miniatures. Um, and you're quite right. Sometimes I can't find the time to watch the YouTube videos, and then I just don't. And then sometimes I do, and then I watch them. But I very rarely do anything but hobby when I do the hobby. Um, I do sometimes chat with people, but that's more like having someone sitting next to me while while hobbying. I can listen to music sometimes, um, or like listen to podcasts or audiobooks, stuff that is only um, you know, for the ears. But I never have any, like, I don't put a movie on and try and paint miniatures, because I just feels like a conflict of senses, and I don't see the sense in that. Adrian says, Seed of storytelling can do so much. I remember watching The Killing and being impressed with just how slow it was compared to other shows. So refreshing. Even the episode, which is just so I kind of missed you there, Adrian, but I get your point. Yes. Um, Things are very fast at the moment. Watching all the movies, and you definitely feel it. Um, Phil says, "I'm so glad you make vids and also Hangout, Alex. You and the Patreon guys are such a joy to share stuff with." Thank you, Phil. I'm glad to have you on the Patreon, because um, you know you're not only funny, you're smart. We do have right, when you join up, if you become a patron to support the creation of videos, um, then you get access to a Discord channel, which is the 52 Miniatures Discord, which is a very nice place where people share what they're working on and tips and tricks for hobbying, but just hanging out as well. for a bit of company, because the hobby can be a bit of a lonely hobby sometimes. Um, I think a lot of people that do the hobby are sometimes a bit of, you know, lonely people. You know, sometimes we're not out doing uh, group activities. We're sitting somewhere by ourselves painting by choice, you know. But sometimes even the people that do that want company. So then it's great to have. I guess there's it's sort of a filter as well, because the people that like my videos, um, to the extent that they want to support that process, then you've already sort of distilled a certain type of a person, I guess. Um, and so yeah, the Discord is great. Please join the 52 Minutes Patreon. Tomorrow Kiddo says, I do other things during lives, Twitch, etc. But yes, I do watch other YouTubes intently, especially stop motion. Yeah. I mean, I'm just, everyone can do exactly what they want. It's, I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong. I'm just saying how I do things. Um, Especially knowing how much time, like the video that I've just finished filming, that's taken me almost 3 weeks daily, 8 hours a day, almost for 3 weeks to just film that. And then someone's going to watch it at twice the speed and then ask me a question in the comments that is totally irrelevant, because they didn't actually watch the video. If they would have known the answer to the question. That just surprises me, But it's also just the way of things, and there's plenty of people that do the opposite, and everyone is entitled to do exactly what they want. It's just the speed of how we take in the world at the moment is fascinating. Um, okay, I've caught up with the chat, and the chat is now dead. It's not dead. It's just everyone's comfortable, doing their thing. It's a bit of a slow one today. So regarding the subject, it was just a subject for fun. If I was a mini, where what would I do if I was a miniature? It's kind of like asking what's your favorite game, but with a twist. Um, Also, maybe not. Like I so would not want to be like a necromunda. Like imagine being in that necromunda sort of hive city thing. It's like no way. Uh, or like a skaven rat in some stinking, you know, dark tunnel filled with shit. Um, pardon my French. Um, there's a lot of settings that aren't really enticing, if you get my point. And so I was trying to think of what would be nice. And as I said before, the halflings come close. They always seem so happy, the halflings. I don't know if it's got to do with the size of their feet or whatever, but they seem happy. Goblins are always also happy, but with more of the like twisted Joker kind of a smile that you're not actually sure if they're happy or if it's just the mushrooms. Um, but that could be fun as well, as long as I don't have to ride a squig. But yeah, it's a really tricky choice. The safest would be to be like, I don't know. Are there any nice games around where you don't die? Because I'd like to be a mini in that game, I think. I'm not really even sure if I'd like to have to shoot other people. It just feels like a bad thing to do in general. Are there any games where we don't shoot people? Hmm. John Ashley Smith says, I've tried over the years to get my group to paint and hobby together, but no one wants to try. They insist they can only work alone. Okay. Which is very strange to me. I find having company spares me. I mean, I think there's two sides of it. I think I really, really enjoy the alone time sometimes, even though spending 8 hours in a bunker every day does get a bit lonely. Uh, but on the other hand, it's just really fun to sit and have company with someone else when painting as well. Just chatting along. So I think I mean, there's it's like it's two different things. You're doing the same thing, but how you perceive the moment is two very different things. I say you should force them into it, and just say, "No, we're doing this now. We're trying." You don't actually have to, perform. You don't have to paint your best, but we should just try, because I think you can get a lot of ideas off of other people. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a Q&A. How should I fix this? It can just be like you're chatting about things and what you're working on, and you can go like, wow, that's really cool. I'd like to do that on my miniature or whatever. It's like the YouTube, but in real life. Hello, Lee Sweeney. I hope you're well. I've missed you too. Marcus says going to get off in a bit. Farmers market and all that. Sounds nice. I hope you have a lovely day, Marcus. Phil says, I rewatched Marco with the Windows magnifier on 300 to 400% for the brushwork, but I put on all movies while painting that I know too well to distract me. Yeah. It's fascinating with people that are good at painting. See, I don't really consider myself being a great or a good painter. I just think I paint a lot and manage to take enough. Like my box of tricks is serviceable. But as you say, like watching someone like Marco Frisoni, and you're like, yeah, but you just did that, and then it looks great. When I do that, it just looks smudgy, and it's all about putting the exact right little thing in the right spot. But I don't know if I could ever try and learn it by watching. It just feels like something you just have to just like keep painting. I don't know. Clyde Dashing says, safer to be in Stargrave than anything Games Workshop. True, depending on who your opponent is. Last time I played Stargrave, my entire crew got wiped. So, on the other hand, that happened to my army last time I played Age of Sigmar as well. So, Ravi Ahmad says, I'd be an Inquisitor if I was a miniature. Nasty. Lee Sweeney says, have you looked into Shatterpoint Star Wars Skirmish? No, is that the new one with that people are talking about, with the miniatures that are of slightly a little bit larger scale? That is like Marvel Crisis Protocol, but Star Wars thing that I can't seem to find. Anyone? No one's really made a video on it yet that I've seen. That looks fun to watch. Is that the one? Oops, my chat jumped. I'm terribly sorry. Where were we? Tomorrow Kiddo says quicksand. Never a fan of that in real life, but it's a great way to use excess body parts when you think about it. That was a strange comment. Is a game called Quicksand? What are you going to do with all the body parts? People are saying I should play Monopoly or Uno. Yeah, I want to be that. I want to be that. Isn't it a shoe on wheels in Monopoly? I can be that one. Clyde says you can play Pulp Alley with the optional rule to forbid combat in the scenario. Okay. Hmm. Soon Talis, says Adrian. I think even if you die, you just come back. It's designed so the whole family can play. See, that sounds like my kind of a. That's where I want to be a miniature with cute miniatures too. Hello, Cleo. My friends and I enjoy painting and crafting together, but it means someone has to carry their materials somewhere. Yeah, that's very true. Um, but I mean, it's not. It depends on what you do. I remember when last time I packed. I went traveling and packed some stuff with me, and it was just like I even brought too much. I brought way too many bottles of paint. Um, and it all fit into a box that was like this because it was like 3 miniatures, 10 bottles of paint, some brushes, and then my little wet palette. Um, I mean, if you're just going to meet up with some people for an hour or two or three, you can just go like, okay, I know I need to. There's plenty of like leather on these 10 miniatures. I need to paint lots of leather, and so you just bring two different browns or whatever, or your brown contrast paint or whatever it is in your 10 miniatures, and that's all you need for that period of time. You don't need your entire um, setup. You can adjust if you meet up for as a specific sort of like once a month. I'm just going to hang out with these three people and paint together. For that session, you can just adjust for a minimum packing effort. Tomorrow Kiddo says, I often see people painting together at my local games workshop. It does look like a cunning business plan, trap the customers. I actually really like that. Um, I was going to say that's one of the few things I like about Games Workshop. That's a lie. I like lots of things about Games Workshop. I think it's kind of fun though. That is, I've never, usually they send things out to content creators, new miniatures and that. I don't think for some reason, I'm not in line with their marketing um, scheme because they sure has never sent me anything anyway. But no, that's always been one of the things that I think is really great about Games Workshop is the fact that you can go to their store, hopefully, um, and you can sit there and paint and test out their paints. And if you're a kid and you can't afford all the paint, you can use their paint. Probably beware of trying to bring any kind of a miniature that isn't a Games Workshop miniature, but there's not really anywhere else you can do that. Even my great game store, Alpha Spell, they have no painting station. I wish they had, but they don't. Um, Especially for kids that can't, like, seriously cannot afford paint. And you can just go there and hang out and bring your friends, and you know, um, I think it's such a great thing. And obviously, sure, you'll get lured in, but you're already lured in because you're there and you like miniatures, and Games Workshop is Games Workshop, so you're going to buy their stuff anyway. Um, and so, for me personally, that's one of the best things. I think, I hope they just keep on doing that. I don't know how it is now after the pandemic, because I know that obviously would have been closed down. So hopefully they just keep running that. And I just wish more game stores in general would do that, because obviously it's a financial thing. You have to have someone who takes care of the place, kind of, and keeps an eye on it so that people don't steal all the paint. But yeah, I love that. My chat jumped. Phil says, Alex, you have a strong painting style that's very much your own, and you do it better than anyone else. It's like with everyone, isn't it, Phil? You know, we're all good at what we do. In you know, everyone's different. John Ashley Smith says, I wouldn't want to be any of my miniatures in the setting I have. Everybody dies painfully and horribly. Exactly. That's what I would like to avoid. Um, all the blood and guts. BP Custom says, lost audio or just me? No, you should have. And no, you don't. Yeah, no, you should be fine. From my end, I hope. I know sometimes the YouTube chat is weird, or like live streams, and you just have to refresh, and things turn out all right. Herding 28 is apparently a pacifist war game involving herding sheep with the collie, which sounds calmish unless you're a sheep. Yeah. I mean, I could still be more, that feels like the opposite. It's like, what's the opposite of warfare? Well, there should be sheep and cuddly things and maybe herding. There could be like mysteries. You could be still, or like, I don't know. Yeah. You could just bang people gently on the head, or like Tintin is always like you use chloroform and yeah. Hello, sugar candy miniatures. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Mark from Montana. Time to get on the highway. As always, Mark. I hope you have safe travels and you don't have to drive too far. Adrian says the thing I don't like about Games Workshop is that they're the only store anywhere near me. It's such a monopoly, which is a shame. It's the thing. I mean, they don't actually have to, they don't have to make money off of their stores to have their stores because they're such a large company. They can afford to have the stores anyway. I guess it's a thing. Ravi says my local store has an open painting time every other Sunday, which is lovely. That's great. Yeah, I wish there was more. Yeah, just more painting, and even like not. It would be great if, I realized these are businesses, and there's a lot of small gaming stores that have a hard time just even making a profit. But I know there's some larger gaming stores that make quite a big profit and have quite a lot of employees and everything like that. And in those cases, it would be really nice to see more of a, getting people into painting and trying to do a bit of a communal thing. I know my Alpha Spill, they have I think they've started with some kind of painting night, where you hang out and paint. But I think you actually have to pay to join, which I thought was, a bit strange. Sorry, Alpha Spill. But yeah, more free painting if possible. If you have the space, if you have the store, if there is the space, and you just all you have to do is just open like 20 bottles of paint. It's not the hugest of 40. It's not just get a mega set from Army Painter. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being up in the clouds and thinking that the world is nice and not just yeah. Okay. Tomorrow Kiddo says, I saw people painting recently in a store, and I agree, it's great. My favorite is seeing 7-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and 57-year-olds all painting together. Instant community. Yeah, and then yeah, and especially for the kids, just because I remember that as a serious investment when I was a kid, buying some bottles of paint, and then like, should I get a red or a blue, a red or a blue, red or a blue, and then like, you know, if you then can go somewhere and just you buy the red, and then you can all go into town and paint all the blue bits at the Games Workshop store. That's a great option for a kid. Ravi says, no, wait, John. Okay, there's some kind of communication going on, but I saw myself tagged in it. John, do you use Discord? You might really enjoy the 52 miniatures one, and your advice and feedback on painting would be so welcome. That was to you, John Ashley Smith. I thought it was to me. That guy in the sky. Good afternoon. How are you? I'm late. Was renovating the lawn. What have I missed? What happened to your lawn? Why does it? Was there? You know, I'm curious. What did you do to it? You're a bit late, but that's all right. I've got about 15 minutes left. It's been a nice, sort of calm stream today. Um, you've probably missed, whatever ramblings have been going on. We've been talking. What have you been talking about? All kinds of good things. But I'm glad that you're here for the end. Sugar Candy Mission says, "Are being good. Working on 5 parsecs from home and Stargrave crew. Good stuff." Did you meet Flat Alex? Sugar Candy Miniatures? I thought maybe you did. At Adepticon. Clyde Dashing says, Pulp Alley allows you to use non-combat skills to win plot points, as if you were gathering clues or interrogating suspects. I'm liking the sound of this. Okay, I'm right. This is now going into the notes with all the other notes. I have so many of these like random post-stream pieces of paper scattered all over the place. But Pulp Alley. How do I spell alley? That's how I spell alley. There we are. I'm just going to check it out. Clyde Dashing says, Patreon doesn't like me. Every time I try to get it fixed, there is a 30-day wait, and by then I'm not around. I don't. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, Clyde. It's strange. I know that it has happened with others as well. Especially Swedes have a hard time. I don't know if that a few people from Sweden that have tried to do the patron thing, and it doesn't actually. It just says that their card is declined, and it just keeps on saying that their card is declined, but their card is fine. And even if they go into the bank and go, allow all purchases for 30 minutes, whatever, it just doesn't work. So yeah. Sugar Candy Miniature says, I did meet Flat Alex at Adepticon. It was lovely, and whoever your friend was who brought him around said some very lovely things about my Golden Demon entry. Yes, that was Alison, a patron. She's a gem, a true gem, is Alison. And she invented the whole thing. She was just like, I'm at Adepticon and you're here, but you're flat. So she made, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Adepticon is like this big convention that was recently. And one of my patrons, Alison, made a sort of cardboard cutout of me in about this size, which is called Flat Alex. And she painted painted him up like me. And Flat Alex got to meet lots of nice people and see the whole convention and play games and buy things, and it was great. And Sugar Candy Miniatures was one of the people that Flat Alex was hanging out with. That guy in the sky, thank you for the kind donation. Says, well, Alex, thank you for asking on why the renovation. I had to move the bodies. Tell no one. You you just gave me money and highlighted the thing, for Pete's sake. Uh, by the way, peeps, help support the channel and throw in a few super chats. Thanks. Thank you, that guy in the sky. Yeah, I guess that's you know, were you removing the bodies before they sort of removed themselves because they turned into zombies? Is it like self-preservation kind of a thing? Thank you for the kind donation. The beer is now on. That was something you missed. It's a sunny day here in Sweden. Everyone is out in their t-shirts. I'm in the bunker, wearing my woolen jumper because this is a chilly bunker. And so I've probably said that after this, I'm going to go write the script for the next video, start writing the script for the next video. That's been delayed because I wonder if can I still do this? No, whoa. How cool was that? Okay, wrong button. I've been doing this, spending way too much time painting a tank. Um, and so the video is late and I should now write the script, but I also want to sit in the sun and drink a beer, and then I figured I could probably do both. John Ashley Smith says, got to get my daughter to instruct me on this Discord thing. I'm truly a dinosaur. My PlayStation keeps beeping intermittently and I have no idea why. I've tried giving it a good whack. Yeah, that usually helps with things. Yeah, I'd never used Discord until I started the 52 Minutes Discord channel, and there's if you join John, then there's plenty of other. Mark, for instance, that was just here. He's a bit of a dinosaur as well, in a good way, when it comes to Discord, and he's learning and he's doing fine. So. Henrik Collins says, I think AlphaSpel has Pulp Alley in the store. Okay. I'm definitely going to read up on it. Thanks for the tip, Henrik. Phil says, Alison is awesome. She truly is. Grey Primer says, I wish there was an easy way to stop large dioramas from getting dusty. I love making them, but displaying them is a struggle. Yeah, because you'd have to put them in like a display case. And if you make large ones, then that's most of your home will be display cases. It's the thing with dioramas. I don't think there's any way of stopping the dust from getting to them. I guess you just have to figure out how to undust them. Didn't someone make a video on that? Kind of recently. Like how to clean your diorama. Yeah, exactly. Roman Lepat did a video on how to undust your diorama. It can be worth checking out. Thank you, LU3TZ. That was just the video I was thinking about. Hello, Grey Primer. What did you say? That was you. Okay, sorry. That was. I'm with you. Lady Terra says, if you're looking for minis for Pulp Alley, The Rise of Moloch board game has some great character models. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check out the Pulp Alley thing. I mean, just read about it to see what you're on about, you lot. BP Customs Creation says, I wonder what train layout people do. Oh, you mean like the big, yeah, how they keep the dust off. They drive their trains really, really, really fast. That's what they do. And all the dust just goes. No, I have no idea. Lutz, that's right. I just, as I said earlier today, it's like my brain, I can't translate when it's not a word that I'm like, what, there's a three. How do I do that? Yeah. I'm slightly not great with letters. John Ashley Smith says, train layout people dust all the time, an ongoing battle. I know a couple of model railroaders, strange, weird breed. I think they're kind of a little bit like us, John Ashley Smith, don't you think? Clyde Dashing says, mini agnostic game. The creator Dave has a YouTube channel and is live on Thursdays for Q&A and Sundays for live game. That's very enthusiastic, I was going to say, but nice he puts the time in. Okay, dear friends. I know there's, in theory, about 4 minutes to go, but I think I'm going to round this off. Thanks for dropping by. It's been great. I think that last you have to blame that guy in the sky for the last donation, because that all of a sudden the prospect of leaving and going out into the sun and having that beverage was very enticing, and so now I feel like that's what I'm gonna. It's happening. It's on. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope you had a good time, and I look forward to seeing you the next time, which will be whenever there's time. Time's going to be a bit short in the coming month, pretty full on schedule with all kinds of things. Some are quite exciting that I don't really want to say out loud, because sometimes when you say things out loud, that just don't happen. So I won't. Maybe just probably talk about them once they've happened, or while they are happening. I was, a bit of a mystery there, but that's a nice way to end. And I hope you have a great Saturday and Sunday as well. And see you soon. Bye.